Hey guys, so today I am going to be discussing coronavirus and how it is affecting me right now. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and I really appreciate it. A lot of people are concerned and are checking in on me to see if I'm okay during this time. And I just felt compelled to make this video, not to just explain to you guys why I'm in danger and why other people with aplastic anemia are in danger, but also why you should be mindful of people who have autoimmune diseases. So I am currently under self-quarantine. I am choosing not to go out. So before I get deeper into this discussion, I'm going to explain to you guys who don't know what aplastic anemia is. Aplastic anemia is failure of the bone marrow. I was diagnosed with aplastic anemia officially in August 2017. I had a severe form of the disease. It was actually bordering on very severe, and because my case was so severe, I was immediately admitted to the National Institute of Health, where I began to participate in a research trial using a new medication. Unfortunately, that medication did not work for me, and unfortunately, I did not have a viable match in the bone marrow registry. The transplant is the only known cure to aplastic anemia, so the option for me was to undergo immunosuppressive therapy, as well as something called ATG, which is when they infuse horse proteins into you and it causes an immune response in your body, shutting down your entire immune system. So when I was diagnosed, my white blood cells were pretty much zero. My red blood cells were critically low, so I wasn't getting enough oxygen to my brain and to my vital organs. I felt really tired. I felt sluggish. I had this really crazy whooshing noise in my head. I'll try to do the sound effect for you guys. That was like the constant noise in my head. My whole head was throbbing and everything looked really hazy and cloudy, and I thought it was maybe a sinus infection or allergies, but no, turns out I just had critically low red blood cells. And then also, last but not least, I had critically low platelets, and your platelets are what help you clot, and if you have severely low platelets, you are at a risk for internal bleeding and most notably brain bleeds, and that is oftentimes a cause of death of people who are diagnosed with severe aplastic anemia. Let's just put it this way. When I walked into the emergency room that day and I showed the nurse at Lenox Hill Hospital on the Upper East Side my numbers, she nearly passed out because it was very bad. My platelets were like 7,000 and the normal number is between 150,000 and like 350,000. My white blood cells were literally zero. I had none. I had so many sores in my mouth because anything I would put in my mouth, it would cause an infection. If you guys go back to my first few aplastic anemia videos I made, I literally like talked really weird because I had a massive anchor sore that was like infected inside of my mouth. And then, you know, my platelets were so bad that I had like crazy bruises all over my body. Yeah, I ended up having immunosuppressive therapy. I had ATG, and about 6-7 months later, after receiving transfusions literally every other day to stabilize my numbers and keep me alive, my numbers began to hold. And they still remained very, very low, but they were no longer dropping down to critical levels. And it was scary because in addition to having very low white blood cell counts, I was also taking immunosuppressive therapy pills, which suppress your T cells. It's preventing your T cells from attacking your bone marrow. So it's literally just like shutting them down. I am still on a very high dose of this medication, and I most likely will be for a long time, because the last time my doctors tried to taper me off of my immunosuppressive medication, I suffered a relapse. So it's very scary to think of going down on those medications because I have this like Stockholm syndrome feeling towards them, like they are my captors and I hate them and they make me feel like shit, but these pills quite literally keep me alive. So it's now 2.5 years post-diagnosis. How am I doing today? How does that affect me during this time when coronavirus is spreading? Well, I'm gonna show you guys my most recent blood work. So I'm gonna show you guys this app that I have on my phone. It's called My Chart. If you are a professional patient or sick person, you probably have something like this on your phone. It is an app through my hospital. I go to Smilo Cancer Center in New Haven, and let me just log in and show you guys when my last CBC was done. I've been getting blood work done pretty much every other week for the past 2.5 years. So if you go into my test results, I'm gonna try to show you guys. It literally goes back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 1 like 2 years. I have so many tests here, and it's my liver tests, my kidney tests, my CBCs, my comprehensive metabolic panel, my flow symmetry, which monitors for leukemia and other types of mutations in my blood, because in addition to having aplastic anemia, I have another blood disorder that I don't really discuss very often called paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria, PNH. A PNH clone is, I'm gonna try to make this brief and not super fucking confusing. PNH is when a portion of your red blood cells are mutated and they spontaneously combust in a way, causing hemolytic episodes in your body, which then can lead to DVTs and massive blood clots. I currently have a small PNH clone, so it's something that's being monitored by my doctors, but it's not something that I'm proactively worrying and freaking out about like I do with my aplastic anemia. Also, you guys might be like, Stephanie, why don't you ever talk about your PNH clone? I just feel like it's a lot. Like I'm taking one thing at a time. I feel like if I start telling you guys all of my health problems, it's gonna make people's brains explode. So okay, I'm gonna show you guys my latest CBC and show you what my white blood cell count looked like. You guys might already know this, but for those that don't, this is actually pretty interesting. I believe I like medical stuff. So your white blood cells, there's two crucial components to it: your lymphocytes and your neutrophils. And your neutrophils are like the most important. They are your first line of defense. They are like the wall that when the virus or the bacteria comes in, the neutrophil is like there to fight it off, right? So a lot of the time when you do get blood work done, they're going to show you your overall white blood cell count, which is comprised of lymphocytes and neutrophils. But the one that I like to look at is the absolute neutrophil count. Now, the average person who is healthy and has a well-functioning white blood cell count will have an absolute neutrophil count between 2,500 and 7,500. My absolute neutrophil count as of January 27th, this was the last time I had blood work done because my doctor does not want me coming in right now because of coronavirus. This number right here, 0.8. So 0.8 means 800. So low normal is, I would say, 1,000 to 2,500. If your count is 1,000, it's cause for concern. Me having it at 800, 2.5 years post treatment and diagnosis, it's still really, really low. And if you look it up, anybody with an absolute neutrophil count or ANC of 800 is at risk of infection and does have a stunted ability to fight off any kind of viral or bacterial infection. So this is why I'm worried, because in addition to having a low neutrophil count, I'm also on immunosuppressive therapy, which is further suppressing my immune system. So literally, I'm going into this fight probably not even on a horse with a knife. I'm probably just coming in with like a stick. My doctor spoke with me personally right when this started getting pretty bad and told me to not travel, not to go out, and to just isolate myself as much as possible. And I know that this is the case for so many other people who are suffering from chronic conditions, autoimmune illnesses, aplastic anemia, lupus, all types of cancers. This is a really, really serious thing. And so when I see people online joking about coronavirus, what I want to ask those people is, do you have at least one person in your family who you care about that's elderly or suffers from some sort of illness? I'm sure you do. So if you do choose to go out, if you are putting yourself at risk, at least be mindful of the people that you then go around, because I don't think realistically we can stop everybody from going out, but just be respectful of the people who are ultimately going to pay the price. Another thing I also wanted to mention is, of course, elderly people are, every single year I have a bone marrow biopsy done to see if any cancer has formed in my bone marrow, because having aplastic anemia does put you at a high risk of developing leukemia and also myelodysplastic syndrome, which is kind of like pre-leukemia. And so every single year when I get my bone marrow biopsy and aspiration done, they let me know what my bone marrow cellularity is. And currently, as of last September, when I had my last biopsy, my bone marrow cellularity is at about 40%. Now, if you look that up, that is about the equivalent of an 80-year-old man. The coronavirus is something potentially very, very deadly for me, and people might think that I'm overreacting by being under self-quarantine, but this is what I'm doing, because I've literally fought so hard the past 2.5 years to maintain my health. But in the end, it's your life. You do whatever you want to do, whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat. I truly appreciate those that are taking the proper precautions for the sake of their loved ones who are less likely to recover from this. Also, I just wanted to mention quickly my episode this past Sunday of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. I was at the airport and I was wearing a mask and I had my hand sanitizer, and people were kind of joking, saying, oh, you know, she knew Corona was coming, like she's been prepared ever since. And I guess you could say that, that is true. For the past almost 3 years, I've had to live the hand sanitizer life. Quite literally every single time I touch a doorknob, anytime I shake hands with somebody, anytime I touch an escalator rail, I will immediately grab hand sanitizer right afterwards and wipe my hands. If I don't happen to have hand sanitizer, I will rush to the bathroom and wash my hands. I am such a germaphobe, and I have to be. And that is what I think has actually kept me relatively safe these past 2.5 years. Damn, guys, sometimes I even fucking hand sanitize my face. As far as masks, my doctors actually have told me that the masks have no effect, that they don't really necessarily help. Maybe for like the first 15-20 minutes they do, but after that, not really. And it is very uncomfortable because it gets very moist and gross under there. So my doctors actually only recommended using the mask as a way to prevent people from coming near you, because people automatically assume that you're sick or there's something wrong with you if you have the mask on. And as somebody who's had a very low immune system and has flown here and there throughout the years, I haven't gotten sick ever while traveling, because I really do have it down to like a science, and it's really just like little simple things that you can do that will make such a huge difference. So I hope that you guys are staying safe. I hope that you are being mindful. I know this sucks. I know staying inside and having a limited social life during this time must be hard for a lot of people. It's certainly not hard for me, because I am a person who's just always kind of been a hermit and a homebody, and I like being at home because I feel like I can work on videos and I can work on my book, read, I can play piano, I can hang out with my dogs. But for the rest of you who are used to a more poppin' social life, I'm really sorry that this is affecting your life. But if we all stay strong during this time and adhere to these rules and these policies, this thing can be gone soon, and then life can return to normal. I am doing my best to help fellow friends and family at this time. I know that because I am somebody who works from home and, you know, lives pretty comfortably, I am in the minority. I know so many people are not able to work right now. So I have gone on to my Instagram and I have asked people to send me their Amazon wish lists and load them up with supplies and things you may need. And I asked for people to send me their Venmos, and I've been sending people $50 just to help fill in the gaps, maybe help buy groceries. So this is really a time, I guess, where we just have to help each other. And that is the only way we're gonna get through it. If we are going to hoard toilet paper and only looking out for ourselves, this thing isn't gonna go away. So just keep that in mind. Thank you guys for listening to my video. I hope it was somewhat educational, and if not, then I hope you enjoyed looking at me in this weird porn star Playboy looking presidential outfit. Thank you guys again. I will talk to you very soon. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.